Hey y'all, welcome back to another verse of the day. This is the third long form video of this that I've done. Um the verse of the day for today is Hebrews chapter 12 verse 11. And that reads, "No discipline seems enjoyable at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." And there is another way of reading it, another translation. And that says, "Being punished isn't enjoyable while it is happening. It hurts, but afterwards we can see the result, a quiet growth in grace and character." So, a question pops into my mind, and this question should pop into your mind all the time when reading the Bible or hearing a verse. What is the context of this verse? Well, I can tell you. The context of the book was written to mainly Jewish Christians. Knowing this, the author of the book, we don't know who that is, used the audience's knowledge of the Old Testament to remind them that Jesus is the promised Messiah and fulfilled many prophecies of the Old Testament. There are 10 main teachings in the book, and the verse of the day falls in the one titled Fatherly Discipline, which stretches from Hebrews 12, verse 3 to 13. And since Jesus is the fulfillment of God's Old Testament promise to save his people, we can trust that God will honor his promise to save those who follow his Son. Okay, that's a lot, but at the same time, why does this matter? It matters for a lot of reasons, realistically. But for this example, let's just read the passage that the verse is in, which I referenced, which is fatherly discipline. And in the CSB text, it says, "For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, so that you won't grow weary and give up. In struggling against sin, you have not resisted to the point of shedding your blood. And you have forgotten the exhortation that addresses you as sons. My son, do not take the Lord's discipline lightly, or lose heart when you are reproved by him. For the Lord disciplines the one he loves and punishes every son he receives. Endure suffering as discipline. God is dealing with you as sons. For what son is there that a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, which all receive, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Furthermore, we have human fathers discipline us, and we respected them. Shouldn't we submit even more to the Father of spirits and live? For they disciplined us for a short time based on what seemed good to them, but he does it for our benefit, so that we can share his holiness. No discipline seems enjoyable at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Therefore strengthen your tired hands and weakened knees, and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be dislocated, but healed instead." What is this teaching us, this passage? There's about 1.5 million teaching us, and the more I read this passage, the more get revealed to me, I guess. But I have a few just written down. One lesson is patience, which is a fruit of the Spirit, which means it goes back to love, and love to God, which is a theme of the Old Testament, along with just the pure patience, which is a theme of the Old Testament. Another thing is honoring your father, which is from Exodus 20:12, the Ten Commandments originally. And there's respect, which is another huge thing. And another theme is obviously discipline, which is all over the Old Testament, and peace and righteousness are all mentioned in the verse itself. Now, these lessons, these themes of the passage, they all mean a lot more. Most of them mean a lot more to the audience that this was written to. We got to remember that, because what they knew was the Old Testament and what they knew about Jesus' life. That's what they knew. Old Testament, Jesus' life. That's what they knew. So at the beginning, he brings in Jesus' life examples the example that he brings him in at the beginning. Then as it goes down, he brings in the Old Testament, whoever the author was, to kind of deepen their understanding, right? Which is genius. All the Old Testament, no, all the uh, letter writers, there's not that many, but still all of them, they were geniuses and they knew how to write for their audience and for us in the future. Now, discipline also ties into obedience, and I went down that rabbit hole in my last long form video, so I'm not going to do that again. However, obedience comes from patience, and patience from obedience. And patience itself is a really big word. It's a theme of the passage, theme of the verse. It's a theme of the verse. It's a theme of the Bible. It's a really big word. There's a lot of ways to take it, so I'm just gonna generalize it, and that's what we're gonna talk about for the rest of our time together today. However, a side note, if you want a full study about any of these themes that I've listed, or just any themes you're interested at all, let me know in the comments or in real life, and I'll try to make the time to do it. And since I'm generalizing this is going to be shorter than the last one. If I really wanted to go deep into this, it could be longer than the last one, but it's not my plan. Well, the definition of patience from the Oxford Dictionary is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I have a feeling a lot of us, including myself, we all struggle with having patience. And there's biblical examples of patience. And there's different like verses where patience is like a key theme. I have a few. Psalm chapter 40 verses 1 and 2 says God rewards patience. Romans 15:5 says God provides patience. Galatians 5:22-23, patience is a fruit of the Spirit. Hebrews 12:1, patience is necessary for Christian living. Two verses before our passage, patience is a key point, but it's also a point in the passage itself. There are a lot more verses, for example, so you can find them yourself. I'm not going to list them because that would take too long, but patience is obviously a huge theme in the Bible. It is in just Hebrews chapter 12, 1 to 13, verses 1 through 13. It's such a huge theme throughout the whole Bible, and yet we barely have patience. Patience is a fruit of the Spirit. Patience comes from love, right? If you're with this, if you have true biblical love, you are walking with the Spirit of God. You're walking with God, so you have patience because it's the fruit of the Spirit. And yet, oftentimes we have like love for people, but we don't have patience. Yet you're having a fruit of the Spirit, you're having the fruits of the Spirit come from being obedient to God. Being patient is a fruit of the Spirit, so being patient is being obedient to God. Like loving is being obedient to God. Having self-control, which also ties to patience, is being obedient to God. And there's so much more to it. I'm losing my mind because I didn't script this part out. This is just coming from the Spirit to me, to you. Patience is such a key theme, and we don't have it. Even to like, our pets, we don't have patience. We don't have patience towards kids who don't know anything. We don't have patience towards adults. We don't have patience towards pets. We don't have patience towards being on the road, whether justified or not. Because our justification, when we're saying that, is worldly justification, secular justification. God is not of the world. We should not be of the world. We should be of God. So, we should have self-control. We should be patient. We should be obedient to God. And if we're obedient to God, we will receive patience and we will receive self-control. It's again, a never-ending cycle. And that's part of why it's such a big theme in the Bible and a big theme in this book. Because if you think about the Old Testament, people of the Jewish faith today still are waiting. They're being patient for the Messiah to come, even though he already did in Jesus. Because Jesus is the Messiah. They waited patiently from the end of Micah to Jesus' birth. That's 400 years. They're being patient through that for God to come in the form of man, which is Jesus as the Messiah. And yet we can barely be patient today. We can barely be patient in this season of Lent, which started yesterday. Today's the second day. We can barely be patient in Lent. Lent is when many of us are our most patient. Yet we should be patient way above this level for the entire year. We should have self-control through this entire year. We should be disciplined through this entire year, through our entire lives. This Lenten season, it's about discipline. And you know what? Discipline is made out of so many things biblically. Patience being one of them. Self-control being one of them. And yet we don't have either of these things. We lash out at people. We lash out at ourselves. We lash out at pets. That isn't biblical. We have to have patience. We have to have self-control. We have to endure through hard times. Verse of the day yesterday talked about this. Having endurance through all things. Right? If I don't stop talking now, I'm going to be talking forever. So hopefully you just get my point. You get what God's trying to say to you. Endure. Be patient. Stop being impatient. Be obedient to God. Be obedient to the Spirit in your lives. Be obedient. Be patient. And there's so much more that comes from just one verse, right? One passage. And yet we barely read our Bible. And when we read our Bible, we just read it. Like we read the words on the page and we don't think about it. But truly reading something is going into it and looking at it even just a little bit. And then they're studying it, which even goes deeper than this. This is just regular old reading the text, truly. You have to do this in your own lives. Don't just trust what I'm saying, right? Don't trust what anyone says. Go read the Bible. Go study the Bible for yourself. And if you need help, get it. That's what pastors are for. And God can help you. Pray in good faith to God for understanding, and you will get it. So just be patient. And good times will come. If not in this lifetime, your reward is in heaven. So many of us act like we understand it, but we act so impatient in our lives. You gotta read the Bible. You gotta study the Bible. Because the Bible is here to help us. I already said I was going to stop talking, or I keep confident forever, and this is an example of it. But there's so much more. I invite you specifically to read this yourself. Study the Bible for yourself. Be biblically literate. So you can help others who aren't biblically literate, get them biblically literate, help them get themselves biblically literate. Then you can fend off these attacks easier. You can know what to do. And yeah, that's about all. Back to my side note that I said earlier, if you want a full study about anything that I talked about in this video, or anything that you're interested in, let me know in real life or in the comments. And I will just see you in the next video. Alright, stay salty, blessed, and lit.